Hey folks, Judd Zulgad, 1500ESPN.com. Thanks for coming to the website from the Xcel Energy Center, where the Minnesota Wild in the playoffs this year, with hopes of making a deep playoff run 2 games into their series against the St. Louis Blues, trailed 2-0 after a 2-1 loss on Friday. Of course, 2-1 on Wednesday in overtime. Friday night's loss didn't even take overtime. The Wild loses this game in regulation, and now their season is on life support as they head to St. Louis for a Game 3 on Sunday. If they lose that game, it's just about done. So what's happened here? How did we get from the point where the Wild struggled in March, came back and played pretty well against some bad teams in April, but certainly as of Wednesday started the playoffs with hopes of making a deep playoff run? How are we now to the point where their season very well could be done? I'm going to tell you right now. To me, this is the Mike Yeo series. Mike and the Blues and everyone else can talk about the fact that this was not personal. Guess what? It's personal, and Mike Yeo's knowledge of the Wild to me is a huge difference maker in this series. And it's not the video, it's not the tendencies, those things help, but where this to me becomes very important, and we saw this on Friday, is what Mike Yeo's Blues have done is they have frustrated the Wild at every turn. And this started, of course, in Game 1, where the Wild had 52 shots in that game. Tonight, on Friday, the shots were much more in control. In fact, the Wild outshot the Blues only 24-22. Jake Allen played great on Wednesday, played well again tonight. But what the Blues are managing to do is frustrate the Wild at every turn. They're slowing them down. They're playing a methodical, boring style lots of times. But guess what? They are firmly in the Wild's heads. And I contend that Mike Yeo knows exactly what pushes the Wild's buttons in a negative way, and for a long time that was a bad thing for Mike. Now it's a good thing. Of course, he was fired in February of 2016 after a long losing streak, and the Wild's tendency with Mike at the helm was every year to go into a fade of some sort, a long skid. And that was the case in February 2016. He was fired, hired last June, I believe, as the associate coach to Ken Hitchcock with the Blues, with the ultimate plan at the time there for Hitchcock to coach this entire season and then step aside, and Mike would take over for the 2017-18 season. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. The Blues got off to a terrible start. Hitchcock got fired. Yeo took over, and now Mike is doing a fantastic job against his former team. The Wild, in this case, they talk about getting to the net more. They talk about being more aggressive. But the Wild is going to have to come up with a game plan to do these things, because the Blues are doing a magnificent job. They continue to force shots from the outside in games. Allen has been great, but the Blues are also doing a very good job defensively. Tonight, the Blues actually got the Wild mad. The Wild almost never gets mad, but they are in their heads right now. And the Wild came back, and Chris Stewart tried to start a fight with his buddy Reeves. Reeves didn't bite on that, so Stewart got frustrated. Charlie Coyle actually played a physical game. I like that. But Bruce Boudreau, in his post-game, was asked about how physical the Wild was playing, and essentially said, it's sort of weird because we didn't play that style throughout our season, and now we are. And so I think there's a lot of people at the X here, and as the Wild heads to St. Louis, who will continue to search for answers. But the problem is this: Mike Yeo might have them, and because of that, there's a very good chance that the Blues are going to win this series. As I said, Sunday's game is imperative. If you don't get that one, you're down 3-0, and it's time to start making tea times if you are the Wild. Thanks again for coming to 1500ESPN.com. Once again, the Wild trails the Blues after 2 games in this playoff series. Those hopes are just about to be dashed 2-0. Have a great day.